and it can be sent through official, uh, emails, or you can talk about, or you can publish it on the notice board, or on the company's board. Okay, this much work has done. Or you can also publish to your investors, to your shareholders, potential clients. Okay, we are following this project, and this has been completed like this one, and we are on the track, or we are ahead of the track, or if we deviated, then what corrective actions we need to do. So that they are using 5 approaches, but that doesn't mean they follow the one. So managers normally use the combination of these. They are also getting oral reports, and also they are using personal observation in combination with the written reports, or either they are using all above 5 approaches. All right. Now, the biggest concern, that what we measure, and that is more important than how we measure. All right. Because selecting the wrong criteria, what we measure, matters than how we measure. The answer is coming from how we measure, and we are basing our decision on what we measure, and the decision will be erroneous. So most work activities can be expressed either in quantifiable terms or quantitative terms. But if quantitative terms, then convert it into quantitative. So it's qualitative. For example, agree, strongly agree 5 marks, agree 4 marks, disagree, strongly disagree 1, only disagree 2, 3 is neutral. So it means you can also quantify the subjective work or qualifiable data, qualitative data into quantitative, and then you can apply some kind of statistical analysis to come up with the answer, and then you can rely on that answer to base your decisions. All right. And the question is, if you are applying qualitative, so they're going to be like, the problems, strongly disagree is going to 1, and strongly agree is 5. So there's a huge difference between those that. So they're going to be a drawback, yes, but remember, these drawbacks are better than having no standards at all. All right. If you cannot quantify the qualitative data, then how you can say that what is anger or what is progress? Okay, our work is in progress. So can you satisfy with that? Or how angry you are? So can you say that I am angry? For me, maybe your angerness means okay, it's normal, or even if your BP is high, I think it's normal. It's the hot weather, and you ate more salt, and that's it. What does it mean? What is anger means? In when you quantify, then you realize, okay, your level of anger is 10. It means it is the highest one. Okay, now I started to worry about that. Or progress is 80%. Okay, now you are satisfied, quite satisfied. Okay, even though converting qualitative data into quantitative has some drawback, but remember that they are better than having no standard at all. When no standard at all, then you cannot access control. All right, let's move forward to the second one, which is comparing actual performance against the standard. So before you exercise control, when you plan, you also plan standards as well, how you achieve those goals, right? And how you achieve those goals, you lay out some strategies, some standards, some policies. Okay, if you follow those policies, okay, during this time period, you would be achieving that. So you can compare your actual performance with the standard one. So basically, what you are measuring, this is your standard, and you are measuring your performance where you are. If you are above, it means you are on the upper limit, you are exceeding the standard. If you are down, you are in an you are not on the standard, but you make some kind of boundaries, limits. So if you are down the limit, that is unacceptable at all levels. So if you are in this range, it means you are good to go. All right. So by the way, can we define all these? Can we quantify that? Yes. If you happen to study statistics, we can measure this through standard deviation. All right. So I'm not going into the statistical stuff. Just going to tell you, okay, this, for example, if this is our standard in vegetable plants and our actual is 913, so it means we are under or over, because standard says we have to produce 1073 and we produce 913. It means we are under 162. All right. So all of your product, if you add them at the end, you find out the total. So that was your standard, and you produced this one. So you exceeded your standard. If individually at individual product, this is under, this is under, this is under. But on total overall performance, if you say that, you exceeded. So that's why control must be exercised on all levels, organizational level, individual level as well. All right. Now, the third step, taking managerial actions. So whenever we talk about managerial actions, no manager wants to take actions on a negative side. So that's why whenever we talk about managerial action, we always talk about corrective actions to improve those or correct those actions. So number one, the response is do nothing, right? Let's see at the end, then we'll talk about that. All right. But if you do nothing and performance is down, then it is itself a question on your credibility. It is a self explanatory activity. You may get the explanatory note to clarify your position why you exercise do nothing. So that's why we are not taking into this do nothing action as a managerial action. All right. So the other two actions are the immediate corrective actions. For example, in assembly line, one assembly line is broken, or its power outage is low, so it's performing less, producing less. So you have an immediate corrective actions to replace that so that you can get your performance back on the track. The second one is basic corrective action. It means how and why performance deviated before correcting the source of deviation. You talk about, or you go after reasons why this happened, and what are the reason. If we do that, what will happen, what whether this action will improve or not. All right. Now the thing is, if the performance consistently exceeds the goals, it means your standard is too low. That is amazing as well. So previously, If you were a layman and you have nothing experience, no experience about the management, you will say that okay, he is constantly beating the standard, he should be given reward. The thing is, you didn't raise the standards, so that's why he's beating the standards. And people do that. In order to earn bonuses, they can bribe the man, the person who is making those standards to not to increase the standards, so that every time they beat the standard, they will demand the bonus and you are liable to pay that. Or they always say that okay, we are the bright and shining employees, so we should given promotions or other, you know, roles, compensative roles. So one thing is that if performance is consistently exceeding the goal, then you should think about that whether goal is too easy. And if easy, then you need to be increasing the level of difficulty in it, or you need to raise the standards. But remember, it's not that 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. Remember, you must be very cautious because employees won't take it as a positive sign. It's very hard to motivate the employees to expect more, or raise their standards, because we talked about in change, we talked about that the Kurt Levin's 3-step process. You need to unfreeze and then you need to refreeze, right? So change is very hard to accept. You need to be very cautious, right? Now, managerial decision in controlling. So depends on result. Managers' decision is to do nothing, corrective actions, or revise the standards. How you find out what you should do. So we have a flowchart diagram here. Here we go. So you ask those 3 questions. Is the standard is attainable, right? Comparing with actual. So first of all, you say that okay, if the answer is yes, then do nothing. If no, then you say that whether the performance deviation is in acceptable range or not, under the standard deviation. We talk about the okay, you are given the range, this upper limit, this lower limit, whether your deviation is inside this range or here in unacceptable range. If unacceptable range, both up and down, that's not allowable, not a perfect solution, or that's not good. And then if you say that okay, it's in acceptable range, then you appreciate him, do nothing. And if it's not even acceptable, then you talk about that whether whether what we decided here, the goals are attainable or not, whether they are realistic or not. If yes, then you identify the causes, what went wrong, or the basic actions, that what went wrong. You were busy, you have some emotional trauma, you got accident, or kids wedding, your wife got sick or something, right? Your father sick, it's like that. So you find out the reason. Or maybe the new technology came and you are